Approximately 6 weeks ago, one of our concerned citizens came across human remains while walking a dog. We discovered the remains of 11 women and one unborn child.
We never faced anything like this. They're sending in an expert.
Chief Carter, I presume.
Hope you had a good flight, Agent Patrick.
I read your file. You've been looking for the boogeyman. Instead, focus on the regular guy just hiding in plain sight. We put serial killers into 4 categories. First, you got your visionary. They hear voices, you know. Next, we got hedonistic. These are lust killers. After that, the power control oriented. But I don't think our guy is any of those. He's a mission-oriented killer. He thinks he's making the world a better place.
Hey, hon. You looking for a good time?
What do you say? You want to do this thing?
Oh, you know I do.
You telling me the serial killer can be an undercover cop?
So, it could be anyone. When I looked into his eyes were dead.
He's playing God. No one can get through life without pain. My pain is deep, but it gives me purpose.
We got a predator amongst us.
The papers gave him a name.
The Bone Collector.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're so excited today to have with us actor and producer extraordinaire for the new film that comes out this Friday thanks to Lionsgate. It's just called Boneyard. We have Michael Sirow. Michael, say hello.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much, Will, for having me.
Oh, no worries, man. I just wanted to get it out of the way real quick. You play Detective Tate. He's not a nice person. He's kind of a piece of garbage. How do you get into the mindset to play such a piece of garbage?
Well, it's interesting. I actually I gravitated towards this guy just because it's just very hard for me to personalize with. I think that normally just me being me, I'm usually very timid, very quiet, you know. And a lot of what Tate does is it makes people uncomfortable. It's very unattractive. It's very, you spend, depending upon who you are in the world of Boneyard, if you spend a good 15 minutes and you're a young, good looking you probably want to go take a shower. So yeah.
I agree. So that I find that interesting that you were drawn to the fact that he's so opposite of you. I think that's an interesting perspective because I rarely hear that. A lot of actors want to go out on a limb, but they don't want to play a completely opposite of them character. That's the hard work, right? Is getting into that mindset.
What's funny is that I played a lot of, I guess you'd call them villains or bad guys, and but this is a guy. What's interesting to me is that. And I read it twice. Actually, when I got the first draft, I read it just one time, and then I read it again, right immediately after, because I was trying to pick up some clues and things that I didn't really pick up the first time I read it. But I think in Tate's mind, I think he thinks, yes, I'm aware of what I'm doing here is wrong, what I'm doing there is wrong. But I think that there's a big part of this where, this may sound terrible, but I kind of sympathized. Once you realize that it's not, there's all these accusations flying around, and it's not, this is like beyond, okay, yes, I'm bad, but I'm not, I haven't done that,
I like that.
And
you saw the dimension in him.
Kind of, yeah. And I felt like, that'd be kind of interesting to keep exploratory, and just really kind of just see what happens. And honestly, if you want to call, a lot of people said that it's like, oh, he's a villain or you're a villain. And I was like, and I think there's certain things that he thinks that he's doing right. Okay. But, ultimately, I wouldn't say he's, that type of guy that would just go in and have a gun to someone's head and is a murderer. I wouldn't go that far. But, sort of someone who's just down on their luck and sort of has a problem with addiction, certain kinds of addiction. Their pockets, their windows, that I think that he tries to, he is doing better. He tries to do better. And I think that's sort of where I wanted to try to accept that kind of that particular challenge, I guess.
I like that. I like that you
If that
challenge
makes
yourself.
any sense.
No, it makes total sense. No, it's a great perspective. I didn't look at the character from that angle either, so it's kind of nice to hear the man who played him sort of give a little bit of a different insight. What was it
Yeah.
like working with this cast, though? This cast is extraordinarily talented. You have a lot of really talented people here.
Honestly, it was like a 3-week vacation. And I say that just, it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. And a lot of time, it takes a very, I don't consider myself a very content person, but I would say the few times, the 2 times where I'm most, I feel most alive is with my family and, on a set like this, with a cast like this, with a group of people like this that just are really, you go into something and I think you get that real sixth sense of, okay, this is a family unit, they're all really passionate. They're all really driven and not overly ambitious, but they're ambitious and they all have the same goal and objective. And it was just, there's so many anecdotes. There's a lot. I mean, we were shooting right in not Clark County. No, it was. I'm sorry, it was Clark County. I got very familiar with the geography of Vegas, but we were, I think, between Henderson and Clark County, if I remember. But
I'm
it was
well
great.
familiar with it. Well familiar with it. I just moved where I live now after spending 12 years in Vegas, so I'm well familiar with
What's crazy is that I never knew, because a lot of this, and again, I'm sorry for going off because I was so taken aback by this, because I'd been to, Vegas, it's like a 2-day town. They tell you go and you leave, right? But there's a big population of people just coming in, and it reminded me of Florida, back in the 90s. I'm like, and it's Vegas, and then there's, I think, Reno. Am I saying Reno?
Reno's 6 hours north.
Right, but I'm just sort of saying in its entirety, right? Like Nevada's a pretty vast state, but then it's just desert, and then you have like these little pockets where there's population. But now we were just seeing all these people retiring and moving in. It was great. I loved it, actually, and it was just very hot.
Yes.
And I will say this: me and a few others, just a quick side story real quick, we ended up getting, because this I didn't know, we got altitude sickness or altitude poisoning. Like, we got sick because apparently Vegas is like 3,500 feet or 4,000 feet above sea level, which, I live in New York. And so you're going out there, and sometimes the pressure affects you, sometimes it doesn't. But the set medic that we had was terrific, and he lived out there his whole life. And he's just like, he saw I had cold brew in my hand and Gatorade in the other. And he was just like, no, get rid of that. Just have water. And so before I fainted, he prevented a catastrophe. So
yeah, you got to drink a lot of water. You get dehydrated quickly. Even though it's dry, there's no humidity, which can dry you out. But no, it's bad. You don't want to have cold brew air.
Yeah. So, but it was such a blast. And Asif, just as a director, and he really just would stop. He's the type of director that just stops whatever he's doing to answer a question, creative or other, technical. He's really so specific in what he wants and why he wants it, and he's just what I would love to call, I know you didn't ask this question, I'm just telling it to you, but he was what I'd love to call an actor's director. So
love it. See, but this is how these interviews should go. I just give you something and you just go.
Okay, good.
These next two questions are simple. I ask them to every guest the first time they come on here. The first one, who are some people that inspire you, people you look to as inspirations, whether that be in your personal or professional life?
Just a wow. I will say my son has to be, and my wife get mad. My wife is one of my other, but my son, for whatever reason, it's just, he's sort of me. Well, he is me, but he's not making he doesn't come with all the flaws that I have. And he's not making those mistakes that I made. He just turned 10, and it's just nice. Not that I'm sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm vicariously living through him," but it's I would say those closest to me, because they've just, my parents, who've been angels. I guess, just to keep it simple. But yeah, it's nice watching my son just really good, enjoy his life. So
Yeah, I love that, because honestly, my son's 14 now, and he's
where
literally
does the
just
time,
a
like, and
smaller,
it goes so quickly, like you just don't know.
and it's not.
And the thing about, and it's funny because I actually, I know you didn't, not asking this, but I had about, because I didn't really have any direct scenes with him, but I had some one-on-one time with Mel, and all we talked about was our kids. And when I say kids, I mean my one and his 7 or 8.
Seven, yeah.
7, right. And man, he is all about him. That's it. That's his everything, and it was just so nice to not, sit there and and have someone else genuflecting with him, and just, kind of just talking and listening to one another. And, and he's such a smart man, really, really a smart man, and just passionate about and anything he's doing. And he was very open. He was very talkative. You ask him a question and he'll give you like a really 10-minute winded answer. He's a really, friendly guy. And yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody, in my professional world. I don't know. I would say, yeah, I mean, I hope I answered your question, but
Perfect.
yeah, that's
This next one's even harder.
Oh God.
You have 2 movies you can watch for the rest of your life. What 2? Why?
That was really cool, that effect with those balloons. I don't know if that was me.
I don't know why I did it.
Oh, but that was awesome. I don't know. It looked good with the Dunkaroos background. So I remember having those back in the day. They were delicious.
They are delicious.
2 movies that I can watch again and
and those are the only 2. Mm-hmm.
It's like a thought, the way to think about this question. I need 2 weeks to think about this. I would say, I'm just going to put this out there. One movie, Frank Darabont's Shawshank Redemption.
It's a very popular one. Everybody likes that movie. It's a great movie.
And I remember we had a choice to go see. I forgot how old I was. I was a child, but it started off and I was like, I'm going to be bored for 3 hours. Man, I was sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
And see, I want to say something like Braveheart or Forrest Gump, but it's like, how do you say there's something? How do you say there are any flaws with those films? To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, good answer.
To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'll tell you why. If you don't mind, if we have time. You asked me before, and this actually can kind of correlate. This can put the 2 together. Gregory Peck played Atticus Finch in that movie. So you asked me people that inspire me. I would say that both my parents, but my dad is sort of a clone of the character Atticus Finch, who Gregory Peck, just because I watched that film ages ago when I was a child, and I don't know, that's what drew me to it, because that character he played that's my father. So, and it's just such a great film. So
it's a beautiful film. I'm glad you picked 2 films that you could argue are almost perfect.
I think so. And I'm a huge fan of Darabont, and I didn't, not because, but Robert Duvall, I forgot that was his first movie, and he's actually kind of creepy in it. because you don't. Yeah. I mean, that's the character he's supposed to play. But yeah, I just to this day that's one of those things that just never. Both those films never get old. So
no, I agree. I've rewatched them several times. I mean, Shawshank is the TV movie. It's on TV. The remote goes down, and you just watch it.
I know we're recording this, but I personally think if I remember my cinema history and award shows correctly, I think was the Oscar was stolen from it that year, or one of the awards was stolen. I think it was against Forrest Gump in 1994.
It was 94.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
94.
It was this and Forrest Gump, and I believe also Pulp Fiction or something like that. Something crazy.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Yeah, man.
It's crazy. That was a crazy year, 94. Great year for film. Now, before I let you go, all I'm going to have you do is just give us why people should go check out Boneyard July 5th in theaters from Lionsgate when it comes out.
It is a terrific story. It is a very thrilling, on the edge of your chair story. It is based off of true events. It's a personal story for a lot of those involved in the collaboration. One of the writers and producers even knew some of those people, as you may or may not have known, that went missing and were presumed dead, unfortunately. But it's just something that it was a terrific experience, and I'm insanely proud of it, and I hope people feel the same.
I love that answer. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Michael Sirow here for Boneyard on July 5th. Thanks to Lionsgate. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you. We worked through everything. We got this interview, and it was a pleasure having you on.
You know what? Emma's really been spectacular, and I owe her a lot. I owe her my unborn child. I mean, she's been fantastic, because I am terrible with all this stuff. I mean, look at this. We're actually in the middle of a renovation, so forgive me. It's just kind of all this.
Well, I mean, this when you're working with the best, it's easy. So
flattery will get you both nowhere. Thank you, William.
She said that, but she's lying.